All right. Hey, everybody, this is Big Mike. I'm happy to have you here today. We've got Chad from Linsoft. He's going to be presenting Investor RT. He's going to show us the platform. He's going to answer some technical questions. He's going to go through some how-tos. He's going to show you how to do a lot of different things with the platform that are pretty neat that can't be done with other platforms. So I know I'm pretty excited to learn about that. And then he's also going to show us and talk about some upcoming features that they'll be adding to the platform here shortly. So here comes Chad, and I want to thank Chad for being here today. And I want to remind everybody that if there are any questions that aren't answered in the webinar, then just go ahead and ask them on the forum, and he'll be following up on the forum and try to get everything answered. All right, guys, here's Chad.
Thank you, Mike. Hope everyone can hear me okay.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Bear with me 1 minute. I'm seeing some message boxes here. Show my screen. Okay. Okay. First, I hope everyone can hear me okay. Mike, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to your forum. And I want to thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to come and take a look at Investor RT. Let me get a good feel for this. Let's see. Okay, so everyone can hear me fine. I see some yeses. Okay, great. Okay, my name is Chad Payne, and I've been a developer for Lynn Software of Investor RT for about 15 years. Bill Lynn founded the company in 1989 and incorporated in 1993, and I came on board in 1996 just after the release of the first revision 1.0 of Investor RT, and ever since then we've been spending most of our time continually improving one product, Investor RT. So today I'm going to spend a little time showing you what we've done. I'm going to show you some features that have been around for a long time. I'm going to show you some that are brand new. I'm going to show you a few that will be coming out in the next release, so which will come out probably in the next couple of weeks. So you won't have access to them right now, but I'm going to show you some brand new stuff that will be coming out in the next release. Investor RT is a comprehensive charting and analysis program. We have a variety of charting types, very flexible, multi-pane charting, a variety of periodicity options. We have around 200 built-in technical indicators and the ability to write your own indicators in the RTL language. We also have some of our built-in indicators are extremely extensive and flexible, and I'll be showing you a few of those today, such as the volume breakdown indicator and the profile indicator. We have standalone market profile charts in addition to the profile indicator, which is essentially gives you a volume or time-based profile in the multi-pane charts and the bar and candle charts. We have global market playback. You can play back any symbol. You can play back any group of symbols, and you can play back one chart at a time if you like. We have multi-monitor support through floating windows in the layout toolbar. We have trading system, backtesting, optimization. Investor RT runs on both Windows and Macintosh. And we have support for a variety of data feeds. Let me spend a little time talking about our data feed options. We support several brokerage feeds, including Interactive Brokers, Zenfire, Infinity, and Transact. Zenfire, Infinity, and Transact. Now, with a brokerage feed, as you know, if you trade through these brokerages, you essentially can get live data for free or through the brokerage. So you can save a lot of money on your live data stream if you're trading with one of those brokerages and using that brokerage to feed Investor RT. We also support DTN IQ feed and eSignal, which are going to cost you $60, $80 plus your exchange fees. So it can cost you in excess of $100 a month for those feeds. DTN IQ feed is a very popular feed for us for several reasons. First of all, they offer extended 1-minute downloads going back. For instance, on the ES and on many products, you can go back 6 years of 1-minute data and download historical data back 6 years. And you can download tick data back 120 days. That's 120 calendar days, which translates to about 82 actual trading days. But you can download extensive tick and 1-minute data. And the great part about that data is that it is adjusted. On the continuous contracts, the data is automatically adjusted to remove the calendar gap between contracts, which is a great feature, especially if you're doing longer-term analysis, longer-term naked point of controls, composite profiles, and we'll get into some of that as we move forward. Now, if you are using a brokerage feed, you're going to be limited. First of all, you're only going to get live data on futures. Second of all, you're going to be limited to the backfill, but we have a feature through DTN called DTN Market Access. It's $15 a month, and you can get your backfill. You get your live data from the brokerage, and you'll get your backfill from DTN Market Access. Anytime you request a backfill, it'll be routed to DTN, so you can get that extended 1-minute tick data, adjusted data, even if you're using the brokerage feed for live data. It does cost $15 a month, and you do get that through us, in cooperation with DTN. So those are the options for data feeds. And let me move on now. I'm gonna spend probably an hour going through the product, maybe a little longer, and then we'll open it up for questions. If you can hold your questions, I'll try to pay attention to the questions, but I'm probably gonna have a hard time doing that. I'll be focused on my presentation. Try to save your questions for the end of the presentation, but I'll try to pause. I have about 7 charts I'm going to show you. I'll try to pause at the end of each chart and see if there's any questions relating to that chart. But if you can, try to hold them to the end, and we'll come back. And a lot of my presentation is going to be about what's available in InvestorRT and less about how to. Now, in the Q&A section, we can get more into how to do some of these things. I can point you in the right direction of videos. I'm going to show you a video library where you can get tutorials on how to do a lot of these things. But for now, I'm just going to show you what's available, a little bit of how-to, but mostly just what's available. What we're looking at now is a multi-pane chart. That's our most common chart. That's a chart I'm sure all of you are very familiar with. Bar, candle chart. And this is a 5-minute chart of the ES. I've got a moving average in this chart, and I've got the fractals indicator in this chart. We have the ability to quickly zoom and scale from the mouse wheel. I'm going to just operate the mouse wheel, and I can zoom out. It increases the pixels per bar. I can use a shift scroll wheel to zoom vertically, and I can use the control scroll wheel to scroll vertically. So using various keyboard combinations, you can quickly zoom in, zoom out, make your bars larger. You can actually use control and shift to make your bars fatter or skinnier. So you can quickly zoom in, zoom out, get more data on the screen, or less data very quickly using the scroll wheel. Up here I've added 4 buttons. We have what we call a button indicator. And you can make we have a lot of flexibility within the button indicator. I'm going to bring up the preferences for this one. This one allows me to quickly zoom to different pixels per bar. If I right-click on the button and choose Edit Button, you'll see the options you have for any button. You can create as many buttons as you like up in a button pane by itself at the top of a chart. You have an option to change the symbol in the chart, the instrument, the periodicity of the chart, the session of a chart. You have a very long list of things you can do from a button. This one's changing the pixels per bar. So I've got a list here, 5, 12, 33. So when I choose 5, it's going to change the pixels per bar to 5. So you can create a variety of buttons here. This button changes the periodicity. I can go to 1 minute, 30 minute, 233 ticks, so you can quickly bounce around between different periodicities with buttons. This one changes my session between the day and Globex session. And lastly, this one changes the symbol. So we can go to the NQ, back to the S. There's also another easy way to change the periodicity. You can simply hit a number on the keyboard, and it'll bring up the periodicity control. And this will give you an opportunity to show you the various periodicities available in InvestorRT. Any number of ticks per bar, meaning every bar is composed of a constant number of ticks or trades. Time per bar, you can do minutes and seconds or just seconds. So you could have a 5-second bar, a 5-minute bar, a 5-minute 30-second bar, so forth. Range per bar, range bars. I'm sure most of you are familiar with that. Change bars, volume bars, so a constant amount of volume or contracts traded per bar. We have point and figure charts, Renko charts, and we have some more exotic periodicities. Point of control volume, what that means is each bar will continue to form until a single price reaches the volume you specify here. So until the point of control of that bar, a single price obtains 5,000 contracts traded at that price, and then once it does that, it's going to move on to another bar. We also have volume breakdown periodicity. You specify a volume. Once the bar reaches that volume level, a range is established. The bar will be completed once price moves outside of that range. Once it trades one tick outside that range, it begins a new bar. We also have daily, weekly, and monthly periodicities. So you can quickly change the periodicity just by hitting 3, enter, for a 3-minute chart, 5, enter, 30, enter, and so forth. So it's very easy to quickly change the periodicity. I'm going to double-click on one of the candles here to bring up the preferences. Here you can change the symbol, or you can change the style of the chart. You have choices for bar, connected line, continuous line, histogram, a variety of options, point and figure, volume profile. So we have a long list of ways you can draw the bars or candles. Now, I said I'd show you a few new things. Let me show you what we have here. This is simply a moving average. But you see this label here. That's something I've added for the next release. I'm going to double-click on the moving average, and you can double-click on any indicator to bring up its preferences. And you'll see it's just a 23-period moving average. And I've chosen at the bottom, this is a new line in the preferences of each indicator, a text label. Many of you have literally 10, 20, 30 lines in your chart. Maybe you have the initial balance high, the initial balance low, opening range high. But you really, the colors may tell them apart for you, but it's very hard to keep up with all the lines in your chart. So what we've added is the ability to label each line, and I can give it a custom line. I could put whatever I want here. You can give it a custom label, or you can let InvestorRT automate that label. And that's an option for all indicators you add to a chart. For all indicators that have either historical values such as histograms or lines. And you also have the option to label the current value in the scale. You can turn that on or off, and you can turn the label on or off. And you can choose to use a scale color. Sometimes you may use a line color that's very close to the background color. It makes it hard to see the text. You can choose instead to use the scale colors instead of the line color itself. So again, that's not available now, but that will be available in 10.4. And this is simply a volume histogram at the bottom showing the volume per bar. Any indicator can be toggled on and off easily with a button. I'm simply going to right-click on this moving average line and choose Add Button. And you'll see it's added a new button titled MA, and now if I click on that button, it's going to remove the moving average from my chart, and I can bring it back quickly. So I can add a series of buttons that toggle different indicators on and off. Maybe I don't want an indicator that's on my chart all the time because it takes up too much ink on the screen, it gets in the way of the bars, so you can have certain indicators that you can add and remove quickly with a button. A couple other new things you may have noticed. I don't know how well you can see this, but I have what I call a watermark. We've added a new watermark indicator. It's not going to make your trading any better, but it'll allow you to stamp your charts. Some users have wanted to stamp their charts with their name or with some sort of text on their chart to denote that it came from them. So we have a new watermark indicator, and I'll give you a few examples. Let me make this text a little darker, give you some examples of what it might look like. And you have options of where to position it. So you can do something like this. Now that's nice, but even the better part of this is I've learned how to draw translucently or with less than 100% opacity. So I've learned how to draw things so that you can see through them. So I'll be incorporating this in a lot of different aspects of the multi-pane charts, given the ability to add some of these indicators that take up more ink, allow you to see through them to the bars. You can always send any element in a chart to the back, but it's nice to bring it to the front and allow you to see through it. So that's coming in 10.4, the ability to draw certain objects translucently and with less than 100% opacity so that you can see through them to other objects behind them. So that's something I'm looking forward to, especially with the profile indicator, which we're about to get into. Okay, let me see if I can find the questions tab here, and if you have any questions before I move on. Okay, here we go. Let me try to maximize this. Target release for 10.4. Well, there is something that is going to require us to release a 10.4 final by the end of May. So we'll be getting into 10.4 beta soon, within the next few weeks, or possibly the next couple weeks. So we're getting ready to release 10.4. Can the watermark support variables taken from these? And that now, someone's asking, can the watermark support variables taken from the instrument on the chart? Great idea. That's a great idea. That's what I like to see. That's you know, as I created this, I was thinking along those lines that, you know, right now I have the option of choosing symbol. So if you do that, it does pull a property from the symbol and it shows you the symbol in the chart. So there's no reason why we can't add user variables, current price, time of day. So there's a lot we'll be doing with this going forward. But I haven't done that yet, but that's a great idea. So, okay. The watermark option is just an indicator in the chart. It's not available yet, but it's just an indicator like any other indicator you can add. You can see I have an Investor RT watermark up here. I have the symbol here, so you can add multiple watermarks to the same chart if you'd like to. Jeff's asking about market delta footprint charts. Let me address two things quickly. There were two questions that came up in the thread on the overview. The first one was, are we going to add a DOM? Are we going to support trading integration going forward? And the other one was, do we have footprint charts? What's the difference between Investor RT and Market Delta? So let me get those two questions out of the way, because I know that a lot of you may have come here for one or both of those questions. As far as trading integration, we do have simple, basic trading integration already with Interactive Brokers and with Zenfire. It's not a focus of ours right now. We are dedicated and focused on continuing to refine our charting and analysis, just like we have for the last 20 years. So that's really our focus. We don't have in our near-term plans any plans to add a DOM, but you can. I mean, as of right now, in our current release, you can trade from charts. You can. It's not something I'm going to demonstrate today. We're not promoting it, but it is available. You can put a button in a chart that initiates a trade. You can have a trading system that automates trades to your broker. You can have reference lines in your charts that you can drag to adjust stops and targets. So it is available, but it is not a main focus of ours right now. We are focused on charting analytics. I can't say what might happen in the long-term future, but that is our focus right now. And there were some great points made. I want to say I was real impressed with the, very informed and very intelligent points being made on both sides. So I was real impressed with that discussion. I enjoyed reading that discussion, and many of you nailed the reasons why and why not. There's liability, there's potential patents on a dome, and there is diversion of focus if we go in that direction. So, but there are also positives. But right now we are focused on charting and analytics. As far as Market Delta and Lens Software partners, we do share a lot of technology. What makes Market Delta unique is the footprint charts and some footprint-related indicators, the footprint bar statistics and footprint price statistics. So those are just incredible features, and those are what make Market Delta stand alone from InvestorRT. And those features are not, footprint is not available in InvestorRT. So I need to move on here, but can you show high, low, close only on the price bar? That is on my list for 10.4, Gary. Can it show high, low, close only? That is on towards the top of my list for 10.4. I do anticipate getting that done in the near future. What capabilities are there for customized indicators? I'll get to that in one of the charts I'm about to get to. Saroj, Gilbert, hope I pronounced that right. How can I add volume profile for each candle? Okay, get into that as well. Okay, let me move on because a lot of these questions you're asking are answered in the charts I'm about to get to. Okay, now what we're looking at here is a composite profile. This composite profile, this is a long-term profile going back, let me see how far I went back here. 1,100 days. So we're going back well into 2008, maybe back to the beginning of 2008. The profile you see on the right is essentially a composite of those 3.5 years of data. And this is the profile indicator that does this. Let me go over some of the preferences. Profile indicator can be based on volume or time. So it can, if you base it on time, it's more like a market profile chart. If you make, based on volume, you get a volume profile, volume at price profile, which is extremely popular in our user base nowadays. You can choose the price per row, choose automatic. It's going to give you every tick. Over here, I've chosen all bars for the time per profile. You have a lot of flexibility on how much time you want to assign to each profile. You can make profiles every 30 minutes, one profile per day. You can customize. You can drag a profile around any group of bars. I've even added a new one called in range, which I'll get to shortly, which allows you to limit the profile to a certain range around the current price, so it doesn't incorporate prices that are 500 ticks away from the current level. You have a choice to draw the current and previous volume, point of control and volume value area, and colors and widths and so forth. These red and green lines you see, those are called the auto peaks and valleys, sometimes referred to as composite high volume nodes and composite low volume nodes. The user specifies a sensitivity. I've chosen 10. What that means is for the peaks of the high volume nodes, these green lines, that price, the volume at that price was higher than the 10 prices above it and the 10 prices below it. The red lines are the valleys, meaning that price, the volume at that price was lower than the 10 prices above it and the 10 prices below it. So you can, like I said before, D10 gives us adjusted data. So we're looking back 3 years at a data that's been adjusted to remove the gap between the contracts. So we're getting accurate data that we can analyze through a composite profile. And we're able to automatically identify the high and low volume nodes. And you can adjust your sensitivity from 10 if you'd like. Another new feature, again not available yet, is the ability to store these peaks and valleys, the nearest 3 peaks and valleys, into a series of user variables. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on user variables. There is a video on our video page on user variables, but they are each symbol has up to 512 user variables, and it allows you to set values and share values between charts, to export values outside of InvestorRT, to import values into InvestorRT, and to share values between quote pages and charts. It allows you to do a whole lot of advanced stuff in InvestorRT, but right now it's going to allow us to take these peaks and valleys, which take an enormous amount of data in this chart to form, and allow us to put them on any other chart easily without having to load all that data on that other chart, to add the profile indicator to that other chart. So it's very easy now, and I'll show you how in a minute, to just drag these peaks and valleys to any chart you have with minimal resources. Okay, so this is a composite profile. You can add it to the left. You can also add it to the right or left. I can uncheck this and it'll go to the left side of my chart. You have a choice for how wide it is. You can make it 500 pixels wide if you like. You can choose to label the point of control in the value area. A lot of options for how you draw it. You can choose a hologram, for instance, and I'm going to apply that. And that just draws it with draws it hollow, essentially, with a line on the outline of the profile. It takes up less ink on the chart. But looking at the volume shading, this is an area where I will be incorporating the translucent drawing option. Now right now it looks fine because it's behind the bars, but you'll be able to bring it in front of the bars and draw it translucently so you can see through the profile to the bars. Okay, so that's the composite profile. Let me take any questions. Let me take any questions on this chart before I move on. I'm going to look at some shorter term profiles next. Okay. Okay, I'm still going to get to the volume profile of each candle. Could we eventually see the composite high volume nodes and low volume nodes shifts in time? Martin, okay. Possibly. I'm not going to rule that out. That's a tough one. I mean, that's a tough one. That's an enormous amount of processing to. So essentially, what you're asking, Martin, is you would want to see. You know, we've got maybe 1,100 bars in this chart. You want to see where that composite, where the nodes were as of each bar, after one bar, after a composite of 2 bars, and so forth. I won't rule it out, but that's going to be a tough one, but it's a possibility. I'll make a mental note of that. Okay, I want to move on to it. I'm sorry, one more question here. Is one able to specify starting dates in date format? No. No, there's no way to specify the dates. I think most of you know you can click on the profile tool in the chart toolbar right here, drag a rectangle around a group of bars, and you'll get a profile for just that group of bars. What I have done, let me go ahead and show you that while I'm in the composite profile chart. I'm going to bring up the preference here and choose in range, and we'll choose 50. And that's going to be 50 tick increments. It's only going to give me a range. It's going to look at all the bars in the chart, but it's only going to include the bars that are within 50 ticks of the current price. So it cleans up a lot of your chart. You're going to get the same high and low volume nodes, but it's only going to consider 50, and you can increase that number 100, 150, whatever you want. But it'll look all the way back to the start of the data, so it's including. Let me scroll back. So it's going all the way back to, back here in 2008, including these prices when it forms the volume profile. And again, this is something new that you can't access now, but it will be in the next release. I'm going to get a market profile. I'm going to look at market profile charts shortly. So let me move on here. So now let's look at daily profiles. This is just another implementation of the profile indicator. We're looking again at the ES. We've got the day session only here, and we've got volume profiles of each day. And the way you implement that is just to check automatic. If you check automatic, you're going to get one profile per day. I addressed that a little earlier. DS, we do not provide footprint. That's Market Delta provides a footprint, but InvestorRT does not and will not provide footprint. That's exclusive to Market Delta. So this is, if you set up a time for profile of automatic, you'll get one profile per day. So we're seeing the volume that traded at each price for the entire session. I've turned on two new features. When you choose automatic, you get the option of extending the naked point of controls and the naked highs and lows. So if you see these yellow lines here, it's extending. For instance, right here, we're extending the high of the day until it's taken out by a future price. It does that each day, so you can see quickly see where the high and low of the day, and it's also labeled in the scale because I've checked this value here. And we're also extending the point of controls until they're taken out by a future bar. Now, I've added a couple of buttons to the top of this chart. The IB low and the IB high. So the initial bounce low, the low of the first 60 minutes of the chart, and the initial bounce high. And these are showing up as orange lines. So you see this is done with the session statistics indicator. And I'm going to get into this indicator a little more in another chart that I'm going to show you. But let me bring up the preferences for this. This is an extremely flexible indicator. For those of you that are really into statistics and analyzing past statistics, this is a great indicator for you. It does so many different things. In this case, I'm just doing the highest high of the first 60 minutes of the session. If your chart is set up for the overnight session, you can check this box to ignore the first 1,020 minutes of the session, which is a number of minutes in the overnight, and you'll still get the same day session initial balance. And I'm going to look at some of these options in the next chart. But this is an extremely flexible indicator, allowing you to do it can be used in so many different ways. And again, this is another implementation of the button indicator that allows me to clean up my chart. If I want to see these initial balance high and low, I can turn that on. Again, you can see, now this is a case where the new text labeling option really comes in handy. So I was able to go down here and specify a custom label of IBL for initial balance low. And so I know exactly what that line is without having to go back and remember a color or go back and see, okay, what does this do? And you can see it develops. This is a 5-minute chart. It develops throughout the first 60 minutes of the day. And then right here, initial balance was complete. It held that value throughout the chart. It does that each day. So here's the initial bounce high, steps up, initial bounce high. And that is the session statistics indicator. Before I move on, let me bring up a couple of pages here. If you go to lensoft.com/profile, this is about a 1-hour video that shows you a lot of the things I've already shown you about the profile indicator and a lot more. So I recommend, if you want to learn more about the profile indicator, this video does have a table of contents, so you can quickly jump around to the topic of interest. But this is a pretty comprehensive video on the profile indicator. And lensoft.com/videos, you'll find videos on the multi-pane charts here. There's probably 150 to 200 videos on this page. You can quickly search this page to find videos on just about any indicator, any charting type, point and figure, so forth. So just search this page if you want to find video instruction on different features. Okay, so let's move on to, I want to spend some time talking about the volume profile indicator, which I know many of you are interested in. Okay, we're looking at, this is a 10,000 volume bar chart. So each bar is 10,000 contracts. Once 10,000 contracts is reached, a new bar begins. In the middle pane here, I have a composite volume breakdown indicator. Let me show you the preferences for this. It's the indicator is called the volume breakdown indicator. Again, this is an extremely flexible indicator. Excuse me. What's unique about the volume breakdown indicator is that it takes, regardless of the periodicity you're looking at, it looks inside each bar and it breaks down, it looks at every single tick in the bar. It looks at the price of the tick, the bid and ask price of the tick, the volume of the tick, and it does a lot of different things with that data. So it's looking at all the data within the bar, all the data that's available within the bar, accumulating that data and accumulating that data throughout the chart. Excuse me one second. Let me clear my throat here. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So I have this one set up to break down the volume, and many of you are familiar with the term delta, and that's what we're getting here, the delta. Every trade is considered buying volume or selling volume, ask traded volume or bid traded volume, based on whether it traded at the offer or traded at the bid. So we're dividing up the volume. It's positive if it traded at the offer. It's negative if it traded at the bid. And the value of each tick is equivalent to a positive or negative number equivalent to the volume of that tick. So we get the cumulative buying or selling, and is presented in a form of candlesticks, cumulative candlesticks. I've chosen to accumulate all the values, and I've chosen delta bars. And so what we get is a accumulate, very similar to the price bars. We have bars built off of volume, but based on whether or not the trade occurred at the bid of the offer. And I've added the fractals indicator. Let me show you what the preference for the fractals indicator looks like. What this does is identifies highs and lows. You specify the bars involved. For this one, I have 15. Again, this is called the fractals indicator. And you'll get a dot above or below if the low of that bar is lower than 15 bars, the 7 before and the 7 after, and or if the high of that bar is higher than the 7 bars below, before and after. And you can specify any period you want here. So it's a way to quickly identify highs and lows in the past. You can also add a number of indicators to the volume breakdown indicator. So in this case, I've added the fractals indicator to the volume breakdown. It shows me the levels, the highs and lows, relative highs and lows for the volume breakdown. And you can add a number of indicators to the cumulative delta. You can add a moving average to this easily. I've added buttons already to show horizontal lines attached to the high or the low, and projected in the future horizontal line. These are actually trend lines, and I have a video I can show you how to do this. But you can do that on the price bars or the volume breakdown bars. You can apply any indicator to the volume breakdown indicator or the cumulative delta by going to the statistics choice and choosing indicator and choosing any indicator from this list. Now, something I've done, again, this is something new in 10.4. I made it much easier, and I'll have a video coming out to show you how to do this. I made it much easier to get the highs, lows, or to involve the highs and lows in any of the indicators you use or apply to the delta bars. So that'll be coming in 10.4. It's you'll have the ability to easily access the highs of these cumulative delta bars, or the lows, or to involve both highs and lows in a custom indicator or any technical indicator applied to this. Okay, down bottom I have just the most basic implementation of the volume breakdown indicator. Simply ask traded versus bid traded volume, and the result is the delta. So we're seeing the net delta per bar, and you can see if you see a green value, that means there was more buying that occurred within that bar than selling. If you see a red value, that there was more selling that occurred within the bar than buying. So you're just seeing the per bar values here. Let me take a look at some of the results, and it's a very long list of results that you can achieve from this. And again, all of these, take a look inside the bar and look at all the ticks within the bar, and accumulate that value per bar throughout the day, throughout the chart. I'll just look at some of the more interesting ones. Bid price changes. So now the value we see here is the number of times the bid and offer price changed. So the bid and offer moved up, down, up, down. We're counting every one of those within each bar. So how much movement of that bid and offer price did we see? You see the most was about 205 here. You can also choose to count the number of price changes within each bar, and you see you get a lot more of those because it bounces back and forth between prices while the bid and offer stay constant. So, but there are a great deal of if you've ever tried to envision an indicator where you needed to look inside the bar at the ticks, this is the place for it. If you can't find a result that'll give you what you're looking for here, email me and I can quickly add it to this. But this is this indicator has here's an average size. It gives you the average size of each trade within each bar. So this takes a little longer to calculate, but you'll see here this bar was about 13. So the average size of all the trades within that 10,000 volume bar was between 12 and 13, about 12 and a half. So you can see how large the trades were on average inside each bar. So that's the volume breakdown indicator. There's, this is just one of those. There's about 6 or 7 indicators in Investor RT that just could be a program in and of themselves. I mean, this is one of them. The profile indicator is another. I'm about to show you a couple more: session statistics and mixed periodicity data. But it'll do a lot of different things for you, and it gives you the unique ability to look within the bar. Instead of just looking at the open, high, low, close, and volume, you're looking at all the trades within the bar and accumulating data in some way. All right, let me see what kind of questions we have. Is there a locational site that explains all? Yes. Okay, so let me show you where to get to the volume breakdown information. Lensoft.com/VB. I'm going to show you a few of these. Most of them are just going to be lensoft.com/ and some text. VB in this case. Again, this is about an hour-long video, like the profile indicator video. Table of contents, and it'll show you a lot more than I just showed you. It's a full hour presentation on the volume breakdown indicator. As the delta, can you identify larger trades? Say more than, absolutely. So, for instance, let's make this trade. How many trades? Let's just look for total trades were greater than, let's say, 100 here. So within each 10,000 volume bar, how many trades do we have that were greater than 100 lots? So some of these results, like this one, is processing now. It has to load all the ticks and go through them. It runs very efficiently as live data flows in, but it does take a little while to initially compute. So here you see we have 12 here, 12 trades over 100. Sometimes we have none. So yes, and you can do that, and you can use a filter. You can say, okay, I want to do that composite. I'm sorry, I'm confusing words. Cumulative delta, but I only want to use trades that were above a size of 10. You can do that. I can just go right in here and change this to maybe, let's say, greater than 5. And it's going to change the shape, but it's going to rule out all the 1 lots and the 2 lots and the 3 lots and the 4 lots. So shape changed a little bit, not much, but you can filter all your results in volume breakdown by size. Are there any options, APIs that plot my entries, exits, stops from my execution? So you want to import. Are you saying you want to import your entries into InvestorRT? Put that one on hold right now for DS, and I'll get back to that. I'll get back to that later. I don't want to get into trade execution and entries and exits right now, but we'll get to that in the Q&A section. I have, I think, 4 more charts to get through, and then we'll open it up for questions. Okay, I'll go through this one pretty quickly. I want to show some of the. We have an indicator called mixed periodicity data, or MPD, and an indicator which I've already shown you a little bit about, called session statistics, and we also have custom indicator. I'm going to show you all 3 of those in this chart. I told you earlier that the session statistics indicator was one that, for those of you that like to do historical statistical analysis, this one is right up your alley. This configuration, what this gives me, I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, but each bar, so this is the first bar of the day right here, the value you see on this bar at each bar is the 20-day average of the volume that occurred in that same period over the past days. So, for instance, this value is giving us, this is the first 5-minute period of the day. It's taking the first 5-minute period of the previous 20 days, averaging them, and projecting and putting that value right here for us, so we can see maybe where the current volume relates to past volumes of the same period. And so the same here. This bar takes the average of the second 5-minute period of all the previous 20 days and averages them and gives them the average value. So that's what you're seeing for every single 5-minute period of the day. Obviously, you got a heavier average volume to open the day and to close the day. And similarly down here, we have taken, this is how it's set up, but I've done average of bars at time, 20 again. This time I'm averaging the high-low range. So you're seeing a similar shape, because they're both measures of volatility, volume and range. But this is taking the range and giving us the average range of those 5-minute bars over the last 20 days. And as I change the periodicity here, I can change it to 30, and you get a pretty clean bell shape there. But this is doing the same thing for 30-minute bars or brackets. So, we can take a look at this. There's a lot. You can do average of bars at time of day and day of the week. You can go back and look at just the first 30-minute period of Monday morning, Tuesday morning, So it's gonna go back and look at just the day of the week. So you can do a lot with this. Don't spend too much time on that. There is a video on session statistics as well. If you go to the videos page, search for session statistics, and you'll find probably 5 or 6 videos on this. There's so much you can do with this indicator. Okay, now everything I've discussed so far, let me talk about product options real quickly. The volume breakdown indicator, here's what you're going to look at. We have an end-of-day version, but the things I've shown you today are not, you'll need You can't do it in the end-of-day version. So let's look at the Investor RT version and the Investor RT Market Profile version. Standard is $40 a month. That includes most of the things I've shown you. In order to get the volume breakdown indicator or the custom indicators or signals, which I'm about to show you, you'll need Professional, which is $60 a month. In order to get the profile indicator or the market profile standalone charts that I'm about to show you, you'll need the market profile version, which is $55 a month. If you add Pro to that, it's $75 a month. So let me get back to the charts. Now, in this pane, I've added a mixed periodicity data indicator, MPD for short. A lot of flexibility built into this too. You can mix any periodicity. So, I'm looking at a 5-minute chart. I want to get a 30-minute moving average, for instance. You can also mix a ticker. Maybe I want to get a 30-minute moving average of another symbol and put it in this chart. You can do that as well, all very efficiently. Internally, we load the data into the chart for whatever underlying periodicity and ticker symbol you specify. So the calculation is extremely efficient. But for now, I'm just going to do a 30-minute of the ES, and I'm going to choose moving average, and we'll do a 33-period moving average. So I'm adding a 33-period moving average of the 30-minute bars to my 5-minute chart. You can see it obviously holds that value through a 30-minute period, and it changes every 30 minutes. It's going to string that value out across the 5-minute bars within each 30-minute bar. You can look at data at higher periodicities. You can accumulate data at lower periodicities. So a lot you can do with the MPD indicator. If you want more information on that, lensoft.com/MPD. I think lensoft.com/SESST for more information on session statistics. Okay, custom indicators and signal markers. This is a custom indicator. It's a very basic one. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going into the syntax. There's a lot of information on our website about creating custom indicators. But we have a language we call RTL for real-time language. And you can see here I've just done max high 20. So that's the maximum high of the last 20 bars. So you can see this showing me the highest high on each bar. It's giving me a value that's equal to the highest high of the past 20 bars. I also added a signal marker based on, again, on some RTL syntax for a signal. In this case, signals are true-false expressions, and this is high equals session statistics, and I've set up session statistics to give me the highest high of all bars of the session. So when the high is equal to the highest high of the session, we created a new high, and I put a blue dot wherever we've created a new high for the day. Right here, went above it here, kept creating new highs. And in order to do custom indicators or signal markers, you do need the Pro version, which you also need for volume breakdown indicator. Okay, let me see where I left off here. I need somewhere to mark. I guess I can delete these questions. That's what I should be doing. All right, let's see. Are you planning on to or provide a lifetime license? At one point we did. I think that was discussed in the thread on the webinar. Right now we don't provide one. Send me an email to support@lensoft.com. Let me make sure of that, but I don't believe we are offering that option right now. But email me at support@lensoft.com and I'll make sure of that for you. Mark, what can you do with ADX? Are you talking about using the session statistics on the ADX, Mark? MACD Bollinger Band, yes. I believe if you go to lensoft.com/charts, see if there's a chart there on MACD Bollinger Band, Tom. If not, send me an email, support@lensoft.com, and I can dig that up for you. But there are ways through a custom indicator to do the MACD Bollinger Bands. I've done that recently for a user, so I'll be able to dig that up for you and share that. Can we get on one chart daily? You can, yeah, you can add multiple periodicities to the same chart. It's probably better to, you can add use the MPD to get data of different periodicities. There's a variety of different ways to mix periodicities. If you go to our videos page, there's a video on mixing periodicities. So search for mixed periodicity, and you'll find some different videos on how to mix periodicities within charts. But you can mix any periodicity through MPD. You can mix time-based periodicities by adding, the bars of the various periodicities to the same chart. Okay, Tom wants me to go over, besides IQ feed, which data feed do you recommend? Yeah, I'm a big proponent of IQ feed for the reasons I've already mentioned. eSignal also is an excellent data feed. They do not provide us with the automatically adjusted continuous contract data. So you can adjust it manually in InvestorRT, but it's not real easy. It's a great thing that DTN has decided to provide that data automatically adjusted for you, and they do it very well. So pardon me for a minute while I grab some water.
Hey, Chad, when you get back, can you show us the pricing page again and scroll down? I just wanted to better understand the difference between standard and professional.
Okay, let's see. Maximize that. Standard and professional. Well, with standard, you get the ability to do anything with our language, to write custom indicators, to write signal markers, and you have access to the volume breakdown indicator with the professional version. Those are really the key differences. You have to have professional to do any of those things. And the standard is $40 a month, Pro is $60. If you upgrade if you want market profile or the profile indicator, it's going to be $55 a month or $75 with market profile professional. All right, let me get back into some of these charts I was working with. I've got a couple more to show you, and then we can get back into some more extended Q&A. I'm going to talk briefly about trading systems. I'm not going to get into details here, but we do offer backtesting, the ability to develop trading systems. If you go to lensoft.com/videos, I have a whole video series on developing trading systems, optimizing. And there's what we call a trading system indicator that you can add to charts such as you see here. You can see we got short here. Here's our target. Here's our stop. We hit our target here. So you see a little box for each trade. And this trade is actually based on an opening range, breaking out of a range. You can see here we got short, and we got stopped out here. You see a little red color for a loss. You see a blue for gain. But let me dig into this a little bit. And this is the preferences for the trading system indicator, and this is the interface for our trading system. We have a list of rules, trading rules here. We've got a rule where we're buying, and I'm not going to get into the details here. You can watch some of the videos. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Some are interested in this, some are not, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But these are rules where you enter, exit, go long, go short, buy some. You specify your signal and your action, and you can backtest the system. You can optimize variables within the system. I'm running a backtest here. Shows you percent complete, the net gain per share. A lot of great statistics that gives you several different reports, day-by-day reports. total profit, average profit per day, so forth. Breaks down every trade for you: when you bought, when you sold, when you went short, how much you made on each trade. So we do have a comprehensive backtesting functionality. You can add these to your charts. You can optimize variables within the trading system. And to get more on that, go to our videos page and click on the trading system link. Down at the very bottom, I think there's about eight or nine videos on trading system creation, backtesting, so forth. InvestorR Pro Plus Market Profile is $75 a month. Just go to lensoft.com/pricing and you'll get a little more information on that. Trading system is an add-on. It's additional. Let me bring that up. Let me see exactly what that is. I believe it's $40, an additional $40 per month to have trading system tools. Okay, let me quickly talk about quote pages. Quote pages are our spreadsheet objects. I'm sure you're familiar with these with other programs. Each row is a symbol. Each column is a piece of data on that symbol. We have several hundred built-in columns you can add. You can see I have a few user variables I've added here. And I have one custom column. Let me talk about custom columns briefly. You can base a column on an indicator or on a custom indicator you've created. In this case, I've chose to base this indicator on a custom indicator running on daily data, which actually computes the average range of the previous 20 days. You can have rules for these. You can color the cell a different color based on certain levels. For instance, I've chosen to color this green if the value is greater than 26. So the average range is 29, so we're getting a green background color here. You can have, I believe, up to 10 rules per custom column. You can tell it how frequently to calculate to keep it from consuming your processor. You can base it on any periodicity, daily, 1 minute, 5 minutes, and so forth. So a lot of flexibility there with what you show in the columns of these quote pages. If you want more information on that, go to our videos page and search for custom quote page columns. You can. Now, in order to do that, I'll show you how to do that real quickly. What I would do is first I would change this to 405 minutes, which is the number of minutes in the day session, and I would choose a session override of session 2, which is my day session. Now we're limited to just, it's going to use the intraday data, and it's going to give us, we got our numbers got smaller because we're just limiting that to day session. So that's how you would do that. We have I talked a little bit earlier about multi-monitor support. Let me show you a couple ways to maximize your screen real estate. We have a layout toolbar, which you're looking at right here. Let me just bring up a chart, and I can switch between, I have a market profile layout, and I have a Big Mike trading layout, so I can just click quickly to switch between layouts. Some of you may be familiar with this as termed tabbed interface. So that's really what it is. You have a few charts open in this layout, some charts open in this layout. You can have as many layouts, tabs as you want. Open up as many charts as you want. And if you have maybe 5 or 6 monitors, you can float any chart. Let me float this chart. You do that by right-clicking the chart and choose, if I can find it, floating window, right here. Now this chart can be dragged outside of the main InvestorRT task window over to a different monitor, anywhere on your 6, 8, 20 monitors, wherever you want to put it. When you do that, it'll retain its position within the layout. If you only have one, if you're not using the layout toolbar, that's fine. When you quit and restart, it'll open up on the same screen in the same position, same size. Everything is saved when you quit. Everything comes back the same way when you restart. And to unfloat it, you just choose floating window again. But when you unfloat it, it's constrained, so it won't go outside the main Investor RT task window until you float it. And floating windows always cover up unfloating windows. You can't bring a non-floating window in front of a floating window, so keep that in mind. If you float a window, make sure you're going to use it outside the task window. Don't cover up everything in your task window with floating windows, because they'll get in the way of other things. How do you add a new pane for a new indicator such as volume breakdown? I like the way you spell pane there. That's the way you spell my last name. But I wonder if you did that on purpose. Okay, so a new pane for let me show you how you add an indicator. I really haven't gotten to that. Hit the insert key on your keyboard to bring up the add indicator window. You can also click on this button on the chart toolbar. And for volume breakdown, I'm just going to hit the V on my keyboard to go down to the V's. This list is alphabetical. I want to find volume breakdown. Anytime you add an indicator, you'll specify your values here. Standalone indicators will by default have a create new pane specified. Others you can overlay. You can add it to existing panes if you want to, or you can add it to a new pane. So I'll hit add and close. And there it is. So that's how you add an indicator to. And you can drag and drop these between. I can drag and drop this right into here. Now, these two indicators don't scale to the same scale, so this thing you can barely see. But you can drag and drop indicators between panes, or drop it down here in the scale to make your own pane down at the bottom. You can also turn this pane title on and off by right-clicking and choosing Show Pane Title. One thing I wanted to talk about that I have not gotten to yet, let me maximize this again, is exporting indicator values. Let me give you a simple example. I'm going to right-click on this moving average and choose Export Data. I'm going to choose Save. And what it gives me is the moving average in a nicely formatted text file. You can see where that text file is here. Tab delimited. It'll open up nicely in Excel if you would like to, but it gives you the date and time and the value of the moving average on every bar in the chart. And let's look. Now, every indicator, you can export the data for any indicator. Some indicators work a little differently. Let me show you how the fractals indicator works. This is new in 10.4 as well. You choose Export Data, and it will show you, when you have a high fractal, it will show you that price. When you have a low fractal, it will show you that price. Now, in 10.3 for the current version, you're going to see a 1 instead of a 0 here. But now I'm putting the price there instead of the 1. So you get a little more information there. Instead of just seeing a 1, you'll see the actual high or low price of that fractal. Okay, I'm not trying not to ignore y'all, but I got 2 more charts to get through. Let's get through those quickly, and then we'll take questions. Now, there's several questions waiting on me over there. I'm going to click over to the Market Profile tab. These are our standalone Market Profile charts. They're separate from our multi-pane charts. I have a pretty standard Market Profile chart here with day session profiles. The first letter of the day is a D. I can split this. You can see we've got a D for the first 30-minute bracket, E for the second, F, G, so forth. You have a volume profile to the right of the time-based profile. On the left is highlighting the value area and the point of control of the previous day. On the right is highlighting the value area and point of control of the current day. You can play back. Let me maximize this for now. You can play back the market profile chart. For instance, I'm going to start the playback on the current day, and you can see the current day, one TPO at a time, playing back. You can see how the day unfolded. D bracket's done, the E bracket starts. You have a variety of different choices for the pace at which this plays back. So we can quickly see how the day progressed. You can do it in 1 minute, probably 5 minutes. You can do it as slowly as you want. You can pause it, start it up again, and click X when you're done to get back to the current level. And you can play back a market profile chart at any time. You don't have to stop the data. You can when initial balance is done, you want to play back. Maybe you missed the day. You want to see how it developed. Start the playback up. One key here is to start the playback. It starts all the way back at the start of your chart, back at 2:15. I'm going to hit the plus button with the Control and Shift keys held down. That's going to take me right to the beginning of the current day. Then I'm going to hit play again, and it's going to play back the current day. Let's quickly look through some of the preferences here. You've got options, all kind of options. There's 5 different tabs in the market profile preferences. Double-click in the market profile chart to bring up the preferences. You can show as many profiles as you want, up to, I believe, 130. You have a lot of different choices for how long the profile is. If you don't check this, it's going to be 1 profile per day, the most common choice. I'm going to show you some other options in a minute. We can do weekly, monthly, yearly, quarterly profiles, 30-minute profiles, any number of profiles, any duration. Very much like the profile indicator, you can do any duration you like for the profile. You can choose a session. You can do a day session, the 24-hour session. You can even split them up if you want. You can choose, let me just show you how you do this. You can choose session 31 and choose minutes, 1,020, which is the number of minutes in the overnight session. Now we've got a split. We've got 1 profile for the overnight period, 1 profile for the day period. So you can do that. And you can also do that in the profile indicator as well. So you can choose to draw the volume bars separate from the profile to the side, or you can overlay them if you like. For the letter tab, you can choose, this is the price range. Most commonly, you're going to choose automatic so that you get 1 letter per tick increment. You can choose the time per letter, most commonly 30. You can choose 1 minute per TPO, 3 minutes, 60 minutes. You can choose what letter to start the profile with, how many minutes in the first letter. And you can also zoom quickly, like similar to the way you can zoom in. Bear with me. Okay, similar to the way you can zoom in a multi-pane chart, you can also zoom a market profile chart or scroll a market profile chart with the scroll wheel and the shift scroll wheel. A lot of different options on how you're going to color the letters. You can choose what font the letters are drawn in. You can draw them as blocks instead of letters. Specify the width. You have a choice for point of control and value area, or volume-based point of control or value area, or both. You can draw singles, extend the naked point of control. As you can see, I have singles here. It extends the naked point of control until it's taken out by a future price. You can see here we have a naked point of control that came in here and then was taken out by this profile, and we have this point of control is still naked. And options for how you draw the initial balance in the value area. You can do initial balance, specify the duration of the initial balance, do multiples of the initial balance if you care to. Opening range, maybe we'll do a red opening range here. Now you see this part is the opening range. This is the initial balance. On the right you have the value area and the point of control. This little block here is the midpoint of the profile. You can add reference lines to your market profile charts. You can also use these reference lines to export key price levels from your market profile charts so that you can easily add them to your multi-pane charts. There's videos on the videos page for how to do that. You can split the letters. I can shift-click on any of these profiles to split the letters in that profile to see how the day developed. These are essentially now 30-minute bars. You can do cumulative volume profiles or TPO-based profiles on the right or left of the chart. So here's one that's doing a cumulative volume profile using all the data in the chart, which in this case I used 48 days. Okay, now and there I showed you a few durations. This is a yearly. This is another standalone market profile chart. This is a yearly profiles. The colors are months. Let me split one up for you. So this is a year, broken down into days, colored by months. So each month, this is this aqua color is January, this gold color is February, and so forth. You have 12 months. So you can see down here it's labeled by the year. This is the beginning of 2004, 2005. You can see where we are currently in relation to how price developed in the past years. So that's kind of one extreme to the other. You can do 30-minute profiles all the way to yearly profiles with a market profile chart. Again, very flexible. Not much you can't do with it, and a lot of what you can do here, you can now do on the multi-pane charts with the profile indicator that I've already shown you. All right, a few quick things I want to discuss before I move on to questions. Got a list here. Let me go back to my other layout. One thing I've done new in 10.4, again, this is not available, but trend lines. Let me just add a trend line here. Let's drag it from here maybe to here. Now, you can, with trend lines, in the past you could drag either end and it would move that end. Now if you drag the endpoint, it moves that endpoint. But if you drag the starting point, it holds the slope, holds the length, and lets you hold a constant length and slope of a trend line and move it anywhere else in the chart. You can control drag it to make a duplicate. And even at that point, you can still drag the endpoint around. And you can drag it to where the starting point is inside of a current bar, but the endpoint can go into the future. So that's a nice new addition for our trend line tool that was not available prior to 10.4, will be available in 10.4. Okay, I've been going for almost an hour and a half. I guess let's stop and get into some questions. And let me see where I left off here.
Hey Chad, while people are typing in their questions, I have a couple also, and I can't type, so I have to talk. Do you have like a symbol dictionary in InvestorRT? Like if I want to look up symbols and add them to the chart, do you use the DTN IQ feed lookup tool, or how does that work?
Yeah, let me show you a page that will help a lot. Linsoft.com/symbols. And this has, I've just created this over the years, but it has the most common symbols and statistics for all the feeds we support. It also has some good links for how you can go find more symbols on the data feeds website. Some will look up for DTN. But I think this will allow you to find the most common symbols, most common futures contracts, and most common indices and statistics. And I also recommend you watch these symbol setup video for the feed you're using.
Okay, thanks. And then the second question real quick.
That's linsoft.com/symbols.
Can you show us like a single chart with the ES and then add breadth indicator like the VIX, for example? I just I want to see the bar spacing, and I'm making sense. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Let me get started, and you can guide me from there. Let me show you how I do a new chart. I did not do that. I'm just going to click on the chart icon in the main toolbar, double-click on New Chart, and I'm going to do a multi-pane chart of the ES. One little trick you can use is you can Control-click and let's X and just clean out the chart except for the bars. So I'm going to clean this chart out. I've got the ES here. I'm going to double-click in the scale at the bottom. A lot of ways you can get to the chart preferences. You can double-click here, then double-click on the chart choice, or you can double-click in the scale at the bottom to bring up the chart preferences. Let's expand this to maybe 50 days. So we're going to show the last 50 days. And since we're going to include the VIX, I'm going to do the day session 9:30 to 4. And for now, let's do maybe a 10-minute bars. Okay, now we're going to add the VIX. Now, I don't have the VIX in my systems, but I'm just going to start. I'm going to hit there's a button right here on my toolbar to add another symbol. It's the top left button. I'm just going to type in VIX.XO, which is the DTN symbol for the VIX. Hit OK, and then hit OK. And so in this case, I've added it to a different pane. Now, do you want to overlap them in the same pane? Is that what you were wanting to see?
Yeah. Could you make it like a line instead of candle, and then overlap on the same pane?
Okay. So let's do a continuous line. Let's make it blue, maybe 2 pixels wide. And now let's drag it up here. Now, here's where it's going to go out of whack because those two instruments obviously don't trade in the same scale. So you'll double-click in the pane to the right. That brings up your vertical scale preferences, and I want to use multiple scales as required. So now you're seeing multiple scales on the right, and you can adjust the element order to adjust which one controls the scale. So now I've got this set up to so that the ES controls the scale. You'll see double lines to the left of the scale when you have multiple scales turned on.
Okay, great. And is the scale always right justified, or could you have it split so that one is on the left and one's on the right?
You cut out on me. You want to put the scale on the left?
Could you have the scale for the VIX on the left? Is that possible while the ES is on the right, or no?
It is not currently possible to do a scale on the left. There is something I'm working on that will essentially enable you to do a scale over here. So that may be coming in 10.4. Right now, no, there's no way to move the scale. I mean, the scale is fixed here. It's a fixed width. Not a lot of flexibility with that. There's a lot of flexibility with how the numerical range you're using for the scale, but not. And you can also do a medium font over here, a medium large font. But there is no flexibility as far as moving the scale to the left currently.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Well, actually, 2 more questions, then I'll let everybody else have a go. On BMT, a lot of people like to create templates and custom indicators and things, and then share them. So I was wondering, how can we, if you have something that you think is great and you want to share it with your friend, how do you save a chart template? That's what I normally call it. How do I send them a custom indicator that I've coded with the RTL language? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's something I forgot to mention. We have what we call chart sharing capabilities. You right-click on a chart, choose Share Picture. You can choose to include the definite. Now, this is a new window. Another thing new in 10.4 that you're not seeing now. It's similar but not the same. You can choose to include a definition or not, choose to include a description or not, share it. It's immediately going to bring it up into a web browser, as you see here. So I'm over in Firefox now. It brought the chart in, so you can see the chart. Since I share the definition, there's a definition here. You can share this link with anybody you want to. They can search charthub.com to find this chart, and they can click on this definition. They highlight the definition, copy, come back to InvestorRT. Let me just close this. They choose File, Import, Definition from Clipboard, and it brings that chart right in exactly like you shared it. Now, since a lot of you are not going to have the 10.4 watermark, you're not going to see the watermark. If you do go import that chart, and you're also not going to see these labels, but everything gets shared. You see the exact same picture. Now, you might not see the profile indicator if you don't have the market profile version. You might not see the volume breakdown indicator or a custom indicator if you don't have Pro, but you'll get the exact same chart, including the buttons. Everything comes across, all colors, all indicators, the view period. So that's the way you share it. Now, let me expand on that. If you're wanting to use a template within your own system, so I've created this chart. I love this chart. I want to do it for the NQ as well. Right-click on the chart and choose Duplicate. It's going to make an exact duplicate of that chart. I'm just going to call it multi-pane underscore NQ. Okay, now I've got two charts. They're exactly the same, different names. Now I'm going to just change the symbol, and you change the symbol in a chart by just typing in the new symbol and hit enter. Now it's the NQ. Now I've got these two charts exactly the same based on two different sets of data because they're two different symbols. So that's how you'd use a template within InvestorRT.
And is it possible?
Can I answer your question?
Yeah, it was great. But is it possible also for me to have like 10 different templates saved and I don't have the charts open? So when I do a file new chart, I can maybe pick from some type of a drop down. Is that possible?
Well, no, but let's say you did save all these charts, and they're going to be in your list of charts. So when you go to open a chart, you got a list of, an alphabetical list of all the charts you've ever created. Open it up, duplicate it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's all my questions.
I mean, just because you close a chart, it doesn't go away.
Right. So if anybody else
talk about that a little bit. Every quote page.
Go ahead.
Every chart and every quote page has a name, a unique name. So just because you close it, it doesn't go away when you close it. It's still there. You can always open it back up. It's got a unique name, so you can always get back to it, duplicate it, change the symbol, or whatever you want to do. So yeah.
Right. Perfect. Okay, great. Well, that answers my question. So now maybe we can get everybody else to type in their questions and see how many you can answer.
Yeah, I tell you what, guys. If you've asked a question and you're still here and I haven't answered your question, let's just type them in again if you would, or copy and paste them in so I can get some new questions. Level 2 or the depth data is not. We do have level 2 with certain data feeds, DTN. We do not have a DOM, so you cannot look at the depth within the multi-pane chart. We do have a level 2 interface where you can look at level 2 information, but we do not have a DOM to look at that information. More than one symbol in a tick chart. It gets a little complicated with tick charts. You can do that, but obviously the ticks don't line up. They'll be right aligned. You may get 100 ticks in the yes while the NQ doesn't tick at all. So it makes it a little bit tricky. You can do that. You can add the S and NQ to the same chart, even tick based, but those two symbols will be right aligned, and the dates and times of the past ticks obviously will not line up. Thick bar between, okay, how do you eliminate the thick bar between indicators? Let's see, are you talking about make these, thick bar between indicators, make these smaller? Or who asked that? Chuck, what do you mean thick bar between indicators? not sure I understand the question. Let me, if you can expand on that. I'm not sure what you mean. In the layout, is it better to choose the hide window or close window? I would choose to hide. You know, if you're going to switch back and forth between layouts, DS, just hide them. That way they'll stay up to date. They'll be ready for you quickly. If you close them, then it's got to open the chart back up, reload the data, recalculate the indicators. So it kind of depends on the nature of what you're doing. If there's a chart you really only access maybe once a week, you just want to take a look at it, then close it. But if you're going to be switching back and forth between layouts during your trading day, and it's a layout you need to see frequently, keep your chart open, just hide it. It'll keep it up to date, and it'll be ready to, you know, that way you can jump back and forth quickly. Percent change charts. Let me show you. We do have percent change charts. So let's see with Ted. So you want to add like a number of symbols to one chart, all relative to a certain date in the past, and show them all as percent change from that date in the past. Maybe adding multiple equities possibly to the same chart and see where they are relative to each other. Is that correct? Yes, you can do that. Let me just show you how you do it. You would add all the multiple symbols to the same pane, and you would choose percent change bar, percent change candle, one of these three right here. And that shows the percent change from the start of the view period of the chart. So they'll all start at 0. If you have multiple symbols in the same pane, they'll all start at 0. Let me just go ahead and do this real quickly. I'll do a new chart, ES. Okay, let me just leave it like that, and we'll add, we'll make this a percent change line, make it green, and then we'll add the NQ percent change line, make it, I don't know, pink. Drag them to the same pane. You can drag and drop indicators and instruments between panes and make it a little thinner. And we'll make it just 1 pixel so we can see it. And maybe we make this start 20 days ago. Okay. So now you can see the NQ and the ES. That's Good Friday there. And you can see they both start at 0 here. And they both, you got the NQ up 3%, ES up 2.25%. So that's how you would do that. If you go to our Q&A page and search for percent change, lensoft.com/QA, search for percent change, you'll probably find a Q&A or a video on how to do this. If you can't find it, email support@lensoft.com. We have an equal volume indicator. It's called equal indicator, and you can base it on anything, including volume. And what it does, it takes the space available, and it draws the bars in a unique block way based on how much volume. They're wider if there was more volume in the bar. So we have an indicator, not really a bar style. We have an indicator called equal indicator, which does this. We do not have a bar style that draws bars like this. I know I'm missing some questions here. I'm trying each indicator. Each indicator. Oh, okay. This is a pane title. Chuck, I hope I'm understanding you correctly. So right-click and choose pane title, show pane title. Is that what you mean? To remove that right there? So there's a pane title. You can right-click in the pane and choose show pane title. That pane title shows, as you move the cursor over the bars, it shows you the value of the indicators or instrument in that bar, in that pane. But you can right-click in that pane and choose show pane title and toggle that off. Yeah, show pane title is the choice. Do so in the pane below where you want to remove the bar, not above where you want to remove the bar. Okay? The pane title goes above each pane. Any plans to support trading technologies? Not immediately, but I wouldn't rule it out in the long term. It won't be coming in 10.4, but I can't really say that it won't be coming past that. So I've heard a lot of users ask for that recently, so it very well could be coming soon. Sorry. Okay. I missed the beginning, but do I assume that new labeling I see on the right of the purple line on the chart will also apply to? Yes, the labeling will apply to all indicators. The option is let me get back to one. Okay, so these labels here are options of any indicators. Not sure how they'll apply to zigzag, so I'll have to get back to you on that one, but zigzag's a little unique in the way it draws. These are available for indicators that have different values on each bar, historical values. It shows a label next to the current value, but I'll look into how we can make that work for zigzag. So you want, in a constant volume bar chart, you want the equa volume to kind of transform into equa ticks, right? Interesting. I mean, is that what you're saying, Massimo? You know, I think we probably could do that now. You would, because you can base it on things other than volume. You can base it on, I think if you base it on the volume breakdown indicator, which in turn was set up to calculate the number of ticks in a bar, you might get exactly what you're looking for. Anyway, email me at support@lensoft.com on that, and I'll look at that. But I think you can probably do that now. Can we select intraday price data from particular days of the week, Monday, combine it to get an average for the selected days and display? Well, yes. With a session statistics indicator, you could create, I'm just going to scrap this chart. So let's go to 405-minute bars. Okay, so 405-minute bars. Let me go back a little further. We're going to go back 100 days. So each day, each bar is essentially a day. It's the day session daily bar. I'm going to add a session statistics indicator, which does, let's go with volume for right now. Well, we'll do average range. So we'll do last price, high-low range of all bars of the session, and we'll choose to do average of bars at time and day of the week, and we're going to do a 5-period. So this is going to give us, on Monday, it's going to give us the average range of the previous 5 Mondays. On Tuesdays, it's going to give us the average range of the previous 5 Tuesdays, and so forth. So that should be what you're seeing here. So right here, we've got Monday there. So the value you're seeing is the average range of the previous 5 Mondays, and you could expand that to 5, 20 days. In this case, 20 weeks. Let's go with 20. Okay. So yeah, that's what it should be giving you there. So that is possible. Okay. Let's see. SR. Yeah, I think I've already done that. So yes, that's already done. SR. That rightmost label is out of the way. Yes. Okay. How about intraday? Okay. Okay, I'm trying. Alan is. Can we do the same for volume data? Losing track of what you talk. Okay, can we select intraday price data from particular days? Yeah, Yeah, I mean, so yes, yes. If you change that, where was I here? Yeah, you can do this. So I can do 30-minute bars here, and it's looking at just the first 30-minute bar of Tuesday, and then of the previous Tuesday, the first 30-minute bar of the Tuesday before that. So yes, it's just looking at the day of the week and the time of the day. What you're asking, and yes, you can do that with the session statistics indicator, because there's an option right here, average of bars at time and day of the week. So I think that'll give you exactly what you need. We do have a free trial, and that's something, you know, may not sound like a big deal, but we really have never offered a free trial. So we are offering a free trial for Big Mike users. Go to his site, scroll down a few pages, you'll see a banner that'll pop up for Lens software, and it'll be advertising a free trial. So go take advantage of that. You can start a free trial with us. It's only a 10-day trial, but that'll give you plenty of time to dig in and see what Investor RT has to offer.
All right, that's awesome. I think
I don't think we've ever offered a free trial.
I think on that note, maybe we can wrap it up. I see one more question here from Gary. He's asked it a couple times, so maybe you can answer it, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, Gary, you can have. You know what? Let's just see what happens. How about that? It's a little tricky with let's do 3,000 ticks. So we got the ES on 3,000 ticks. Let's do an addition of the NQ, 3,000 ticks. So you can see now. This is why it gets kind of messy. Yes, you can do both, but you can see there were obviously a lot more ticks on the ES in the same period as there were on the NQ, about twice as many ticks, I'm assuming, for the ES. So you're not going to see, I mean, it's not going to line, now just because they're not going to line up. In order to make them line up, all right, here's what you would do. You would add the MPD indicator. Let me find it, MPD. Choose 3,000 tick chart. And choose mixed ticker symbol and choose add NQ found. So I'm going to mix both the periodicity and the ticker symbol. And choose align to the dates and hit add and close. Okay, obviously they're not scaling to the same scale, so I have to turn multi-scaling on. So now that's lining up for you. So that should be lining up. You got the bars of the ES, and the line is showing the closing prices of the 3,000 tick bar charts of the NQ, and it's the MPD indicator aligns those by time for you. So that's probably your best solution. Now for this one, the current bar lines up, but then they don't line up by time as you go backwards, because there's more ticks with one than the other. Does that make sense? But the MPD indicator does give you a way to do that. And I think that's probably your best solution. No, it is not possible. It is not possible. Our historical indicators, which have values on each bar, need a bar to draw on. So the only indicator that draws past the current bar is the trend lines. So so no, that's not available currently.
All right, Chad. Well, great job, great presentation. As we're wrapping it up, maybe I know that you spent a lot of time with all the videos that you've made to answer a lot of questions. So maybe you can remind everybody where they can go watch all those, and then tell us your email address one more time if anybody wants to send you an email.
Sure. Okay, lensoft.com/videos is where you'll access the video library. You know, I'll always do a Control F and just type what I'm looking for here, market profile. and hit enter and just go down and find the videos that that match the keyword that I'm looking for. There are literally hundreds of videos here, and they're broken down by categories at the top. You got trading system videos, market profile, miscellaneous. You can search for session statistics, as I was mentioning, and you'll find a number of session statistics videos. But this is the place to go and dig around, find some of the videos that pertain to the features you're most interested in. So, and we're going to try to get 10.4 out within the next couple of weeks. And if you have any questions, my email address is chad@lensoft.com. You can also reach us at support@lensoft.com. And I appreciate everyone showing up today and taking time out of your day to hear what I had to say. And I hope you found some value in the presentation. I hope we can work together as Investor RT users in the future. So.
All right, thanks, Chad. It was awesome.
Yep.
Great seeing the presentation. And I want to remind everybody about the 10-day free trial that you can get through BMT. So like Chad was saying, just go to BMT. You might have to click 2 or 3 pages, but you'll see a banner that they're running for that special promotion right now for the 10-day free trial. I also want to remind everybody that there's a thread for this webinar. If you go to the home page, kind of on the top right, it's showing up right now. It'll be gone in a few days, but right now it's a quick, easy link to the thread, so you can see some of the other discussion and questions that are going on. You can ask questions that maybe weren't addressed here, and Chad can answer them. And then as far as the recording, this webinar ended up running about 2 hours, so it may not be online until tomorrow morning because it just takes so long to encode. But look for it later today or tomorrow morning, and you can see it on the site. Okay, so thank you, Chad. I really appreciate your time, and like you said, I want to thank everybody that's joined us today. We had a really good turnout today, a lot of questions. So look forward to having you back again sometime in the future. And until then, I'll see everybody on the forum.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And guys, I will monitor that thread. So I know I missed some questions. I apologize if I did miss questions. There were a lot coming at me. But I'll monitor that thread over the next few days, and we'll keep an open discussion for any questions I might have missed or any questions you may think of after you've left the webinar. Thanks a lot.